Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida, with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
Show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, good evening and welcome to Transition Radio. Thank you for joining us again.
Live from Wilton Manors, Florida.
That's right.
And tonight on our show, we have Susan Collins. She is a woman of trans experience and cherishes the magic of who she is. She has worked as a therapist for 30 years, the past 9 years specializing in gender identity issues. But before we bring her on, we would like to thank our sponsor,
thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your transgender and cross-dressing needs. Visit their website at www.thebreastformstore.com and tell them Mark and Jess from Transition Radio sent you.
Susan has served as PLBG specialist at Mazzoni Center, coordinating the Trans Health Program from 2005 to 2008. She sat on the Mayor's Committee on Sexual Abuse and Assault in 2006 to 2008, helping create a training film for ER doctors dealing with trans patients who have been assaulted or raped. She sat on the Mayor's Committee on Homeless Shelters and Gender Minorities in 2004, helping create inclusive rules for shelter.
She served on an executive planning committee for the Philadelphia Trans Health Conference for 5 years. She has done extensive lecturing on transgender issues to both lay and professional audiences, locally and nationally. She has presented workshops on wellness and gender issues at TG conferences across the country.
She produced the Trans Community News Show for transfm.org. in 2008 to 2011, sharing news of our worldwide trans community. She has worked as a counselor at Morris Home, a recovery treatment program for those who are transgender or gender variant, the first program of this kind in the country.
She is currently developing Celebration Home, an intentional community dedicated to the concept of taking a proactive stance towards the issues of homelessness in the trans community. And she loves everyone, every single one of you.
Now, please welcome to our show the lovely Susan Collins. Hi, Susan.
Hello there, Mark. How are you?
Hey, Susan. How are you?
I'm
so
very,
glad to
very
have you
good.
on our show.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be on here talking to my family.
Definitely. I've been following your Facebook page and all the positiveness that you have to share with us, trans community and our allies. And I think that's amazing. We need more and more positive people in our trans community. And I think that's going to really bring the message across that we're normally happy individuals and just want to be ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can
that.
Can you share with us what you meant by the magic of who you are?
Oh, yes, the magic of who I am. I am a woman of trans experience. We are amazing people. We have such creativity. We have such resilience. We have such strength. We have such intelligence. Just our presence, just our continued existence in the face of everything that we have to endure makes us magical people. My God, we keep getting back up, Mark, when we don't want to. We keep reaching out for help when we feel like staying down. And that's what I mean by the magic of who we are. We are magical, amazing, unique creations of this universe. God, that's pretty much what I mean by magic. We are, God, how do I put it? We reach out to each other. We reach into ourselves and bring out the very best in ourselves when we really don't feel like it. When I would rather crawl into a ball somewhere in a corner, I reach out. We all do that. And I think that is what makes us so amazing. Even in our darkest hours, Mark, God, we are amazing people. We are amazing. So I believe we are all magical, and we should all treasure the magic of who we are. Yeah, that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, definitely have to agree with you with that, because I find this journey to have been the most amazing journey, and if I had to do it all over again, I would. And I think that we've been around for ancient times. We're considered shamans, healers, teachers. We have a major gift that has been given to us, and I wish the rest of our trans...
Throughout the ages, we have been set apart as someone special. We have been feared, we have been cherished, we have been blessed, but we have existed throughout all the ages. And in this generation, we seem to be blossoming. We seem to be standing and becoming a part of this community. We're starting to get a seat at the table with the family, the human family. And I just, this generation is amazing, people. And I think that the world will be a little kinder and a little gentler for our children and grandchildren growing up trans because of how we stand up and because of how we become more and more visible. And we approach our trans identity, or however we identify, as something positive. It's not a curse. When I was young, I used to think it was a curse that I was this way. Now, God, I love being who I am. It's a real blessing.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely it is. And I agree. What you said about the visibility is definitely a factor in how things have changed, I think, because we're no longer a myth or a mystical, made-up being that nobody believes, because people are starting to see us because we're not hiding in the shadows anymore, because we're actually coming out and living our lives to see who we are. People are seeing us, so they're actually learning more about what we go through and who we are as people.
Yes, and we move more and more into the mainstream of society. We no longer stay in our little communities and work just with LGBTQ agencies and organizations. We are living in the mainstream. We are working in major corporations. We are doing amazing things in the world, and they're seeing us as human beings, not as some kind of aberration, some kind of abomination, as some kind of freak. And that helps us so much, helps our cause of freedom to be so much that we stand up in the world and say, yes, hi, here I am, and I'm not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what changes have you seen in the past 30 years as a therapist working with the trans community?
Changes. Well, first of all, we are not bound by the old Harry Benjamin standards of the strict SOCs. And when we go into therapy, we don't have to be considered or lie or to try to prove who we are to other people. We don't have to be heterosexual. We don't have to be any type of orientation in order to be considered transsexual. We no longer have to be to stay within the binary code of relationships. We can be whoever we are. We can be straight. We can be gay. We can be lesbian. We can be bisexual. We can be asexual if we want. And it's okay. It's okay. I remember in 2005, when I first began working at Mazzoni Center in Philadelphia, we made this brash move to not make people prove to us who they are, but actually, when they walk in, we would say to them, we believe you. How can we help you? We worked on the premise of informed consent. We made sure that they understood they were asking for. We worked on the premise of harm reduction, making sure people were safe, that when they went through formal procedures to transition. No, because DIY, do it yourself, is so dangerous. And we would rather have people come in and be safe and get safe hormones and get safe medical care. Because as we have the courage to say who we are, yes, I am trans. And the more we say that, and the more we're treated, and the more we believe that yes, this is who we are, the more we grow into ourselves and the more we come to love ourselves, and the better we start taking care of ourselves.
Exactly. Now, you said safe hormones.
Also,
Can you elaborate on that?
What's that?
You said something about safe hormones. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So many of us, well, the first time I started down this road of transition, we did not go to doctors. We did not go to any clinics. We would get hormones from hospitals. We would just get hormones and we would take them, not really knowing what we were doing, not really studied up on it. So many people now, they go through, for fear, I guess, and other reasons, we go through internet sites. We go through drug hotels on the internet to get our hormones. And we are really playing Russian roulette with ourselves when we do that. I think it's really important to make sure that we're staying healthy inside, that our blood levels are correct, that we're not having any unforeseen negative consequences to our taking hormones. And other thing about in the last 10 years is just the amount of information available. I remember in 2005 when I first started at Mazzoni coordinating the Trans Health Program, that there was very, very little that we could find outside of a few forums, a few trans forums on how to get some type of information, education, referrals, ways to become who we are. And now we go on there everywhere. There are support groups on the internet. The Facebook is filled with things like that. We have, God, when I was doing the news show for Trans FM, I would go on to news sites, and there was close to 1,000 different news sites that I could go on the internet to pull news stories from all over the world. 10 years before that didn't exist. So with this internet and the availability of all this information, we're able to make really, really good, conscious decisions about how we should approach this transition that we're going through.
Exactly. And like you said about the self-medicating with the hormones and everything, you're so on top of that because, not only with self-medicating can you do more damage, but you can cost yourself your entire transition by doing something wrong. And so it's very important to be followed by a professional and by doctors.
Yes.
I agree 100%.
And also another issue, as far as so many of us who in the trans community are underemployed, so many of us, 15 to 20% of us are homeless, so many of us, especially living in the urban areas, and people of minorities, they're thrown out of their houses when they come out, and they're living in the streets, and they're forced to do things for things. They're forced into sex work. They're forced to do different things. And in order to compete's a terrible word to say, in order to be seen as a woman in this binary code system that we so adamantly hold on to, we are forced, so those people are forced, they cannot afford surgeries to enhance their body. They cannot sometimes approach doctors to get hormones, so they start pumping silicone. They start pumping silicone to enhance their faces, to enhance their breasts, to enhance their hips. and all of that to be seen, to be able to present as female in society, and so try to avoid some of the discrimination and intolerance that's shown to us everywhere. And that is a terrible thing. I've seen people go through terrible, terrible medical consequences of pumping. A friend of mine died on the operating table trying to get some silicone scraped out of her cheeks. It's just a terrible way to go. But many people are forced to feel that they're forced to do this in order to survive in this society. And I think that's a real indictment against the society of ours, that we so adamantly insist on a certain way of looking if we are a woman, a certain way of looking if we are a man.
Right. We need to break down those barriers, break down those walls, and educate people, because I wrote an article for Hit Magazine, and I was talking just about that we're putting ourselves in danger all to fit into society's box, and we don't need to do that. We need to educate society and let them know that there are different kinds of men and women out there. We all don't have to fit the stereotypical type of being a man or a woman. Tell me a little bit about...
I firmly believe, just a little bit further on that, I firmly believe that we as trans people, as people who identify as trans, we sort of negate the binary code altogether. That there is more than just someone who is born genetically female and someone who is born genetically male. Okay? And then with all the intersex conditions that we deal with, all the people who are intersex, we sort of negate the fact that there is only one or another. There are so many of us, and we are so fluid, and human beings are so fluid, and there's just so many variations that we should be allowed to be exactly who we are. And perhaps in a generation or two, we will be allowed to be exactly who we are, without being forced to do things in order to look the way society wants us to look. I firmly believe that transition in any medical or surgical procedures that we do should be for personal reasons, because this makes me feel better about who I am. This makes me feel normal, not pretty, not beautiful, not manly, but just normal. This is me now. I finally fit into my body. I finally am the person physically that I always knew I was. And I think that's where we should be headed towards. And not just things we fit in.
Exactly, and putting ourselves in danger. And speaking of which, share with us your views on wellness and how we can, as a community, help promote more of it.
Wellness. Wellness to me is not a goal. Wellness to me is a journey. We are not on a, we don't attain wellness and then stay well. Continually, we work on wellness. To me, wellness is me being exactly who I am in the genuine, authentic, real way. God, how to explain it? Consider a tree. to take a small digression. Consider a tree. We look at a tree and we say, wow, how beautiful this tree is. But if you look closely at the tree has knots on it. It has the limbs that have been broken off. And the tree has swayed this way and that way to try to pick up the sun in order to be nurtured to stay alive. It is not a perfect specimen of a tree, but still it is beautiful because it is exactly what it is, and it doesn't try to be anything else. To me, wellness is that, us being exactly who we are, with all our genuineness, our realness. I consider it to be well. If sometimes I fall down. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I cry like a baby for days. And that, to me, is part of wellness because I'm expressing my real feelings. Sometimes I'm so angry I want to tear the world apart. But that, to me, also is a part of this journey of wellness, that I am expressing and I'm accepting how I feel. And if I accept how I feel and I express it freely, then I can let it go. And I can grow through it. I can become a better person. And if I just go through things, let's just get through this, then we don't really find meaning and we don't really grow as a person. But if we grow through things by allowing ourselves to be exactly who we are, then we become beautiful people. So that's my conception of what wellness is. We are being who we are. Now, I would prefer to be laughing all the time. I love to laugh, and I love to joke around and bust on each other and do all those wonderful things. And for the most part, I am. Sometimes I'm not. And I used to say, oh, no, I can't be upset. I can't be mad. I can't be this. What's wrong with me? But now I'm learning that it's just part of me. And if I see a brother or a sister or a Z or any of my family, going through a hard time, I reach out to them in love because I know exactly what that feels like. I know that pain. And me being able to express my pain, I can say, yes, I've felt that. And so I can reach out in compassion to someone else who is going through it themselves. I think that's what it is. Wellness is a journey. We are on a journey of wellness, not towards wellness. There's no goal that we're looking at. Just a journey of wellness. Yes.
Exactly. So you are an amazingly positive individual. Can you tell us what helps you stay so positive, and what advice do you have for others to help them do the same?
Yes. I wasn't always a positive individual. There was a time when I lived in a lot of pain, and I didn't like myself. In fact, I hated myself. I felt all this pain because I was not allowed to live, or I did not allow myself to live as the person that I am in this world. And I think some of the positive is my heritage, my Irish heritage, that we have learned to laugh at pain, and we have learned to make jokes about things in order to stay alive, in order to not just fall apart and curl up and die. But now, I began this road that we walked on in 2004. As I have grown into myself, I've grown to love myself, and Mark, I really love who I am. And as I love who I am, I begin to love others more easily. I can finally love other people. I can love a friend now. Such an amazing thing to be able to love a friend. God, and to be able to love me. And that's what keeps me positive, even though I'm crying and even though I don't want to go on. I find a way to go on because I've grown to love myself. What I do when I'm in a really, really terrible situation and I'm facing something internally or externally, what I do is I consider all those people who I love, and I consider all those people who love me, and I take those people and I wrap their love around my heart like a blanket, and it warms me and it soothes me, and then I know that I am not alone. I may be going through this by myself, but I am never alone. And that helps me walk through anything I have to go through, to know that I have my family with me always. I think that's the biggest thing to remember. At 3 o'clock in the morning when we're trying to figure out how to go on, or when we're in that social sticky situation, or we're looking down those hateful eyes, to remember that we are not alone. Our family is always in our minds, telling us how much we are worth, and they're always in our hearts, giving us compassion for those who refuse to understand, and always in our souls, sharing our dignity, helping us walk together down this broken road towards freedom to be,
Exactly.
Susan, we're going to take a little break to make an announcement, and then we'll get back with you with a question. So if you bear with us.
I will be here, but I want to make sure we talk to that celebration home real quick. Very good. Very good.
In the trans news today, we have a special announcement to make, and it's non-trans related, but brought to us by a member of our group, Transition Radio. It's a close group on Facebook. There's a little girl who lives down the street from me. She's blind, and they're trying to raise money for a seeing eye dog.
Basically, you don't have to donate any cash, but I'm asking you to have your friends, relatives, coworkers, or anybody on your friends list to share this status. Let's help this little girl reach her goal. Below is a little more information about Emma, along with a link to her story.
And Chris, who is a member of our group, is the one that sends this information. Emma needs your help. Emma is in need of a seeing eye dog, and they're reaching out to the public for help. Right now, they're collecting can tabs to help them reach their goal of $20,000 for a seeing eye dog for Emma.
Monetary donations or can tabs can be sent to Emma's Eyes at P.O. Box 56, Holsapple, Pennsylvania 15935, and that's Holsapple, HOLLSOPPLE, PA 15935. And you can see the story at www.facebook.com/Emma Maroon's Eyes, EMMAMARONESEYES.
Right, so let's bring Susan back. Let me look at her.
Emma.
Okay. Hey, Susan, back. We put you on mute there for a moment so we could read this announcement, and we had promised a member of our group that we would make that little announcement regarding Emma.
Very cool.
Yes.
So I want to say blessings to Emma, to everybody. I hope she gets her dog.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are as transgender individuals. We think, that our life is so terrible. But there are other people in the world who don't have gender issues, that have other issues. So, this is a human issue. We all have things that we worry about. We all have things we don't like about our lives. And I think if we learn to love one another and we break down the walls and the barriers and stop being so greedy and just look at life in perspective. And I think,
Yep. I'm first and foremost a human being, so I care about my human family. Whoever you are, whether you're whoever you are, you're human. You're part of my family.
Exactly. Even cisgender people out there, they don't like something about themselves, or there's something that they don't like about themselves.
Human condition.
The human condition.
So let me ask you,
Yes,
Susan, how do you feel about the many expressions there are in our community?
Yes. I want to say hello to my family. This may answer it. I want to say hello to all my sisters and my brothers and my Z's and my It's and my riot girls and my dogs and my cross-dressers and whoever you identify as. Blessings to you. Know how much you are loved. This movement, this cause, this thing that we're working on is not just for trans rights. It's for the freedom to be whoever we be. And if they're going to allow me to be a woman of trans experience, I have to allow you to be whoever you are. And if we share our differences instead of compare our differences, then we bond. If we're constantly comparing who we are, you're this, but I'm this, but I'm this, but you're this, then we divide each other and we separate. I'm allowed to be who I am. You're allowed to be who you are. And that's what's meant by freedom to be whoever you be. So if you identify as a cross-dresser, God bless you. If you identify as a gender fuck, God bless you. That's who you are. And that's what we should work towards and strive towards, for us to be exactly who we are. So it's all the different gender expressions. That's just personal identification. I believe in personal identification.
Exactly. So, Susan, where can our listeners get a hold of you, and what are your goals for the future?
My goals for the future. Right now, I am working on a thing called Celebration Home. What Celebration Home is, it is a proactive stance I am taking towards the homeless situation of the trans folk in Philadelphia. I have been working in the last 3 weeks, walking the streets where the people do sex work, and the food lines where they go to, and the shelters where they live, and the places where they have to take a shower. And I've witnessed firsthand the discrimination against those who are trans. So we want to take a proactive stance towards that. I myself am in that situation. I currently am living by the kindness of a sister, Tiana, living in the back room of her place on a mattress. So I understand what it is to be on the street and it is to be homeless. So what we're doing is we are creating, there's many, many abandoned homes in Philadelphia that the city owns, and Philadelphia has very strong squatters' rights. So we are looking for and we are garnering support from different agencies to be able to move into one of these houses and make it our own. We celebrate not asking permission to exist anymore. We celebrate the fact that we are going to take our lives into our own hands and create our own lives of dignity. And the word celebration home, I just have to mention this. It is in honor of a woman. A woman, when I was really, really down, invited me into her home She created a home for me. She filled it with her love. And all I had to return it with was myself. And it was enough for her. So celebration is an honor of her. And I wanted to let everyone know that. So that's my plans for the future. And how you can get in touch with me? I'm on Facebook. My name is Susan Collins. If you want to find me, just let me know you heard about me on Transition Radio, and I'm sure to make you my friends. You know, it's nice to know more people, more real people, more genuine people. And my email address, susancollins.ts@gmail.com. And those are, that's how you can get in touch with me.
Excellent.
And please do. I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much for being on our show, for sharing your story and your loves, passions. And,
yes, thank you.
Of course, it's always a pleasure to have a conversation with family, Mark. It's always a joy.
Don't forget about Jessica.
Oh, Jess, hi. I haven't heard you the whole time. Hi. Hi, Jessica. It's just such a nice thing. Nice to know that you're there. Have an amazing night, okay?
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you so much. And
yes, and thanks for this Transition Radio. Thanks for doing this. You provide a very needed service for people.
Yes.
Yes.
We love
it. And it's all of you that help make it possible. So.
Yes. Sharing your stories, and we love doing this, listening to different stories, making new family members, because everyone that goes on our website gets their page and become part of the Transition Radio family. So thank you so much, and
sure. Good night, Jessica.
Good night, honey. It was great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was nice to be on. Take care of yourselves, okay?
You too, honey. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening yet again. Stay tuned on Thursday night on our TV show, live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our time has changed from 9 to 8 on our TV show. And we've got an amazing, amazing performer by the name of Chris August. Don't miss this show. You're going to love it. And he also is into the paranormal, so that's going to be a really nice show on Thursday night. Well, guys, take care of yourself. Be safe as always. We love you. But remember to always love yourselves, too. Good night, everybody.